All right, welcome back to the show. We have Dolapo Ogunbambo, a media consultant, joining us on the show this morning. And I'd like to ask him a few questions about how the media is being used in this particular journey, this political journey that started sometime September last year and, of course, is winding up this weekend. Dolapo is you're the head of media and publicity for the Jandor campaign organization. You chair the media
publicity
committee of the independent campaign.
Absolutely.
Yes, for Jandor from Care gubernatorial ticket. Right? And it's good to have you on the show this morning.
Good morning, Tennessee. Good morning, Robin.
Welcome.
Good morning, Nigeria.
All right, let's talk about the media. For a couple of days, Robin and I have been looking critically at how our friends, our colleagues in the media have taken certain issues and, have taken almost taking sides, even sometimes against the ethics of the profession. I look at it and I'm asking myself, for someone like you who has been relating with different media organizations in the course, of this, have you been impressed?
I think we must take into context the climb and where we find ourselves. It's the era of politicking, and this is expected. However, the decorum must be maintained, and ethics must also be maintained in what people communicate and how they communicate. We do not believe in character assassination as a group because we solely stand for deliberating on issues and how issues affect the lives of people and how we can use governance and discussions around public good to advance improvements for the collective good. That's what we are focused on. So we do not join people in issues. If you've noticed our campaign, and in every opportunity that we have, we always ensure we preach peace because those are the things that we have signed up for, and those are the principles that guide our engagement with the society.
Unfortunately for us, people tend to relate more with what the media puts out there. So, for example, a couple of days ago, a particular picture, came out. I can use it on television right now because the person in the picture was practically naked and was smoking. And this picture began to talk about, or was referred to be the candidates, the deputy candidate of a particular party contesting in this gubernatorial election in Lagos. I saw it. Now, this is the way I relate with things like that. I saw it, and the first thing that occurred to me, I felt offended as a woman. So, because of my personal offense, everyone that practically sent the picture out, I muted them on my WhatsApp. For me, that's my choice. I can put it out there. I've seen media stations put it out. But then, where do we draw the line? This character assassination that you say you don't participate in is what the people tend to use. And I'm not just talking about the traditional media. What about the social media? Whether you like it or not, there are loads of stories going out on social. I still saw a meme about the governor, the sitting governor, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, yesterday on the page of Mufasa Tunde Ednut, on his page, talking about I want to do a party. Sanwo-Olu, I want to do a party. Don't call me, I cannot come. There are so many of these things that people are doing. We make a mockery of our entire political process, in my personal opinion. But you're a media person, you're outside, you're in the game, and you're watching all of this. Have we been professional as the media in the course of this journey?
So here it is. If you dimension the value chain of media, there is the source, there is the message, and there is the receiver.
Yes.
Now, more importantly for the source, which has become the platform, as it were, in this case now, what they look out for is how they can grow followership, how they can get more eyeballs, because that's the currency they trade in. To would-be advertisers, to would-be followers, they want to see content that tickles their fancy. I mean, it doesn't hold substance. The picture you are referring to, we have also seen it, but you could see that we pass off those things as happenstance within the situation we find ourselves. For lack of a better word, people are just, in the social media parlance, catching cruise, as it were.
Catching cruise at somebody else's expense.
Now, that's them. Do we believe in that? No.
Absolutely not.
Do we encourage it? No. The same way we would not encourage anything that maligns or assassinates the character of anybody who has put himself or herself out for public service. It's the same way we would frown at it. However, people should be guided. And I want to put it out there that people now need to realize that they are responsible for the content that they push via their own platforms, social media, because there are laws guiding this. And at any point in time, they could be picked up if it borders on, misinformation, if it borders on character assassination, they could get libelous suits in that case. So, for us, those are not the new issues. And if you speak bad about me,
and I put it out there, a lot of people do not even know they can get sued.
Well, I mean, it's your duty and our collective duty to be informed as to best practice in the use of social media.
I'm this kind of person that like to digest Kipren's conversations before I get, okay, this is where I want to pick it up from here. So I've seen how you started this conversation, and I can tell you that I know your stance and I know what you're preaching at. So where I'm coming from now is I don't see Tunde Head Nuts, for example, as a place where I can get the reliable information and where I can get information that serves the general populace's rights, because he's just a blogger. You talk of the likes of Instablog, like you said, and you're right, they just want to sell out their page. You won't see our own media platform, MITV, posting something unreal or just posting
unconfirmed information about anybody.
You get, even when it's confirmed, sometimes you watch what
we're still cautious, very, very cautious.
But now, in this stage, let's talk about. I know you have a particular office you are heading and you're coordinating. Yes, and few weeks ago, since we started this political race, some people have come after some candidates, using social media with their political propaganda, to mislead people. And this era where we have different movements now. We don't even understand if some people are movements or they are political party.
Yeah.
Because this is when you will see association of this will come to say we want to declare support for this person, all in the name of what they want to get from that person. Politicians are white too. In short, I feel politicians are smarter than the people who are coming to
declare support for them.
Yeah. So how have you been coping with this misinformation, propaganda? And I'll take example, I'll say your candidates. Like, a lot of information has come, a lot of people will just come on social media, and I can sit in my house and say, this person is not really a Lagosian, this person is from this, and before you know, it will fly. How do you handle such a kind of propaganda and information?
Knowing fully well that is misleading a lot of people out there.
Okay, so I'll take it first from where you started from. And for me, this is not to cast aspersion on any platform. But what the social media space allows is what people refer to as absolute freedom. There are laws guiding the freedom of expression, as it were, an association. You cannot infringe on the rights of other people.
And call it freedom.
And call it under the guise of freedom. And that's why you would see the likes of Archon, the regulators of advertising in Nigeria, and also the NBC begin to encroach into that space. And the lawmakers have also taken that very serious. So we need to be guided. We also need to be careful the source and credibility of the information that we share. Some of these people may not have been exposed to the ethics of journalism, and they found themselves to be happenstance journalists by reasons of being able to have technology that enables them to share information. And they have a captive audience that seemingly believes and follows all that they say. But the duty is on the regulators and also professional platforms like yours, MITV, to continue to educate people, so that we can begin to filter with sense of reason the information that we consume. Now,
sense of reason. I'll hold on to that. Please continue.
Now back to we as a group. You see, you have to be ready for every and anything in this game, because you know that a lot of misinformation will deliberately be put out there. One, to cast aspersion. Two, to change the narrative. And three, to begin to create doubt in people about either your candidacy or in whatever form. So we have a team of experts that consistently watch that space as a committee in conjunction with the larger media and strategy group. We are consistently monitoring the space. We are watching the narratives, and every time we need to intervene, we intervene. You've seen instances where misinformation has been put out there, and we've immediately corrected the narrative to say this is the fact.
Okay, so let me come on a little bit with you, because I want to see if what you're saying is an interpretation of what we saw yesterday. So, for example, just a couple of days ago, a particular blogger, I think Adito, called out your principal and was talking about alleging certain misbehavior, and particularly harped on the fact that nobody knows his wife. He's campaigning, the wife is not in the sphere, is not in the space. And yesterday, the wife engaged market women in Lagos and, said she's been very much with her husband and all. Was that a direct response to such information that was put out there on social media?
Again, I would say this. We are very strategic in how we approach things. When you see that a narrative is being pushed, and you see that the generality of the electorates, the people that you are out to serve, demand answers to those questions, then you will provide answers. Somebody talking about the wife non-existent absolutely is rubbish, is hogwash. And I mean, the wife has come to bear now. What's the other story they're going to tell? So we do not get distracted, because we are focused on an election. We are focused on selling our candidacy to the people of Lagos. We are focused on ensuring that the promises that we make, we are working on delivering on those promises, and in conjunction with all stakeholders in the city-state of Lagos. That's the focus for us. That's why you would see the wife of our gubernatorial candidate come to town, meet with the people, and begin to talk with them.
Okay, isn't that coming a little bit too late? Because
I wouldn't say it is late. The reason is this. The person up for candidacy on the ballot is Jando, and his running mate is Funke. We believe that those who are responsible and accountable to the people of Lagos should be those that Lagos should interact with. Every human being has a right to privacy. I have a right to be private with my family life. However, if it comes to the bear where questions are being asked as to either the existence or non-existence of this, we can come to clarify.
But you would agree with me that even if the office of the First Lady does not officially exist, at least the First Lady is recognized, and that is why we call her First Lady. But they have a lot of assignments that they do, and we always know that behind every successful man there is a woman. So
There should be a woman.
I don't think
There should be.
there should be a woman. I don't think it's a crime or it's an
Sometimes
offense
more than one.
for people to say, okay, who is actually with your principal, Jado? We want to know her. Like, let's know who we are dealing with, because there is much influence from a wife to the husband. Because you will see some people who want to approach Jado, for example, maybe God willing, hopefully, it becomes the governor. And some people wants to approach him. You hear some people say, let's go and meet the wife first. She knows how to talk with him. You understand? So I feel like there are a lot of roles for women when it comes to,
In
because
governance.
if he becomes, the governor, she is playing a very vital role. There are times that he wouldn't have mood, or he wouldn't want to do something, that the wife will have to go and convince him or talk to him. We won't know that. They will just come outside.
I
Sorry.
like the fact that you say we won't know that.
Yes.
Because she doesn't have a constitutional role.
Yeah.
In
But,
governance.
and the last one I want to ask you before I keep quiet on this table is
Why do you want
talking
to
about no, because I want to see how he's going to respond to this one now. Now, the opposition party
Parties.
and the opposition parties. No, one particular opposition party, which is the sitting party,
The sitting
The
both-
ruling party.
sitting both federal and state. Once upon a time came up with social media regulations and say, let's regulate this because of the hate speech, because of the fake news, and no. And so many political parties, came after them saying, oh, this is not right, this is like sabotaging some people's freedom, and no. And, we are media personnel, we saw different, response coming to that then. Would you have been in support of the social media regulation, or you would have called it like, oh, they are doing it to take, to be on their own advantage?
Okay, so I'll take your questions from there. You see, for social media, the truth is there must be regulation. Regulation to the use of social media. Regulation that will ensure that as a nation, our sovereignty is not threatened. That must be in place. However, the challenge that we seem to face is that people hide under the anonymity of identity on social media.
You
To
don't know
begin
who you're
to-
dealing with.
To begin to advance certain
Propaganda.
And inciting the people.
Misinformation.
incite the people wrongly. So that needs to be checked. That needs to be controlled. But the people have a right to express themselves, yes, within the limits and the ambient of the law. That's what we stand for. And we believe that legislation is an all-inclusive process. I mean, we expected that when this was to have been done, the larger populace was to have been called, the stakeholders involved were to have been called, they were to be prepared for this, and everybody would have been aligned on a position, rather than you just imposing what you think is right, not taking into cognizance all other stakeholders that will be affected. I can tell you for free, by the single act of that law that the ruling party put in place, a lot of people whose livelihoods were dependent on social media, some of them went under.
Yeah.
You can't do that in an economy where you expect people to be responsible citizens, to pay their taxes. Then there is a responsibility and duty of the government to those people. So where lies the fairness in the process? That's what may come on the table for us to have conversations
engagement
around.
is what you're saying here.
Civic engagement
Before
is
you
an
come up
ongoing
with any.
process. Absolutely.
Okay, so-
Absolutely. He also touched on the issue of the wife. Now, the thing is this. I won't go personal. Your wife is your support system. And how the both of you have chosen
To relate with one
to
another.
relate with one another and agree on the support that is needed should be peculiar to you,
And it's personal.
and it's personal, and you have a right to choose the way you want that support to be given.
Okay, so let me go a little bit further here, because we're talking about the issue of spouses in this election. People's children have been dragged into this. People's spouses have been dragged into what you particularly called a game. After March 18, the election will be over.
Absolutely.
And because of this kind of narrative, people have broken the, edge. People have destroyed relationships because of this kind of narrative. Let's go to life after the election. Are you looking at a situation, or would you advise any politician who was maligned, abused during this election process to maybe sue the people who did, whether he wins or not?
If you have reasonable grounds as an individual where your character has been maligned, where your fundamental rights have been infringed upon, why not take it on? I mean, you have the constitutional and legal rights to take such on if you deem it very damaging to your reputation. That's a personal decision. But for us, I'm not sure you would ever see us in any mudslinging or character misrepresentation campaign. We are not for that.
Since you don't do it and it's been done to you.
Well, where it is being done to us and it begins to infringe on our fundamental rights or affects our character when we summarize everything, of course we will take appropriate actions where need be.
Where need be.
Where need be.
And when it comes to traditional media, you cannot tell me that sincerely you've not seen even the traditional media cross the line. For example, yesterday, our sister station here, unfortunately in Lagos, and one of the media practitioners, that deserves some respect, deserves respect. Let me not put the word some. Somebody called him out on social media. I think it was Omojuwela called him out and said, when somebody is on your platform giving out misinformation or mistruth,
absolutely,
you should have the responsibility to correct the person right there.
Absolutely.
So that you do not put these in the middle, because people listen to you and they take what you say as fact. So, for example, yesterday, I think it was 2 days ago, Peter Obi was on Arise television, and he was talking about how the Southeast, suffered more with the 1993, annulment, MK elections, and all of that, and talked about MK still won, and Omojuwa came out to say, hello, it's on Google, Tofa won the Southeast. From the records. Tofa won the Southeast. And are you talking about who really suffered more when the facts are out there? And it felt, it didn't really go to the person who said. It wasn't about Peter Obi saying. It was about our platform being used to say such. It was our responsibility to say, oh no, can you clarify who won? Are you saying the general election, or you're talking about from a particular zone? Clarify. That's why I'm asking the question, even the traditional media, can we give ourselves a pass mark in the way and manner we have engaged the public and the politicians in the season?
You see, a heavy burden rests on the shoulders of those who have chosen to warehouse the trust of the people. And the media is one. Because a lot of people every day look to media platforms, especially those who practice this professionally, to be their source of truth. And where you see any derailment or misinterpretation of the facts, the duty rests on the media platform to call
correct
that
it.
to order and put it out there to say, this is the fact. You may have your own point of view. You are entitled to your own point of view as an individual, but let us not distort the fact in the generalization of whatever may have happened. Your point of view is
It's
yours,
your personal point of
but
view.
these are the facts. So putting the facts out there is part of responsible journalism.
Our guest this morning has been Dolapo Ogunbambo, who is the chair of the Media and Publicity Committee of the Jando Funke gubernatorial ticket. And we want to say thank you for joining us on the show.
Thank you very much, Tennessee.
I hope we've been able to correct certain people this morning, because we still have about 3 days to go. We still have about 3 days to go before this election. I hope a lot of people who have gone to the extreme end of the teters and are about to fall into the pits can still pull themselves back a little bit and, align back. Well, thanks for having you.
Thank you, Tennessee. Thank you, Robin.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ladies. Good
All
morning.
right, we take a break next. When we're coming back, we're talking about this social media issue, and this time around we want to shine the light on intentional misinformation and how damaging it can be to a character. We'll be back.